everybody, welcome back.
Hi folks.
Hope you guys are all doing well. We've been wanting to do an update for a little while to share with you. I know we've been kind of putting out little teasers of the things that have changed. So
Yeah, well, as Gina said, we're here to share our change of plan. But before we do that, I think it's important to let you know what our original plan was, and then you have a better understanding of how we've arrived at the decision we have.
yeah, well, if you've been following us, you may have known that we originally wanted to do van life. We've been wanting to, this has been our dream for 6 years, at least 6 years. And we wanted to do van life, but we found that when we finally were able to get into this, the vans were just crazy money now, and we just couldn't afford it.
Yeah, it was really surprising. It shocked us, to be honest with you. And, you know, we are doing this on a budget. The kind of prices we were looking at for the vans were probably in excess of $100,000. And the other problem we had is because of the whole delay, this should have really happened 3 years ago. And it didn't happen because of some family commitments and then obviously COVID. So now that we were ready to do it, we also didn't have time to convert a van, so that was another factor. So what we ended up doing was getting a small trailer. We thought that was probably going to be the next best thing to van life, and also we didn't really know about the boondocking. We were kind of advised only through YouTube videos that, you know, accessibility was an issue, and, you know, stay as small as you can.
Yeah. And the other factor was when we started thinking in terms of a truck and a trailer, we were thinking, okay, maybe long term, we are looking for a property while we're doing this adventure. So we thought, well, a truck is going to be a long time purchase for us. So that went into the decision making as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, as Gina said, part of this journey was also looking for a state to live in. We had a plan perhaps of maybe buying a homestead, and that's where our name came from. We chose the Wise Old Homestead, and that was part of our journey, was searching for the Wise Old Homestead. We're not so sure if we want a homestead now. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But one of the problems was we painted ourselves into a bit of a corner with the name we gave ourselves. We ended up with the initials WOH, and we also felt that putting homestead in it was probably a little bit misleading to some people in the journey we're on at this point.
Yeah.
So we tried to think of how we could adapt it, as we'd already got a logo, and the best we came up with was Wise Old Homies. Neither of us were particularly happy with that, but anyway, it's what we had. And but now we're in a position to change all that. We've also taken the opportunity to rebrand ourselves.
Yeah, so if you're wondering, well, why have they changed their names? That's why we just weren't happy with that in the search, and so now we are the Tumbleweeds, which I personally love because
Me too.
We've seen a lot of tumbleweeds coming across the West, and we absolutely love it, and we just think it just suits us because we just are rolling with whatever comes along. So
yeah, so okay, realities of our original plan. First of all, we're not retired. We've saved up over a long period of time, and that was to try and give us the first year that we didn't have to work. We knew that we were going to plan to work in the second year. Also the trailer, again, our vision was that we knew it was small. We've got a little dog, as you know, but we also thought we'd be spending a lot of time outside, so that was just going to end up basically being a bedroom. The realities of travelling, however, are that it's not always sunny days, and we got stuck inside the camper a lot. And just to put this in perspective, it was a 19-foot camper. We've got a 6-foot bed in there, 6-foot queen-size bed. We probably had an area of about 4 foot for the bathroom area. that left us with a living space of probably about 8 feet.
Yeah.
And that had to include the kitchen and the sofa.
Yeah.
So the reality was, it was actually like living in a small garden shed, and that was starting to grate on us a little bit. The other thing is, we completely underestimated the costs of travelling, and it's not just travelling, it's the ad hoc expenses. We had to put new tyres on the truck, we had some problems with the RV.
Yeah.
The short and long of it is,
we're broke.
We ran out of money in 4 months, and obviously with the current...
Don't sugarcoat it. We're broke, so...
Yeah, we're broke. But yeah, obviously the current cost of living hasn't helped either.
Our 1 year budget has been wiped out in all of 4 months. So we've decided that we're going to take a work camp job this summer in western Montana. Yay, we're so excited because it was one of the states that we wanted to make it to. And we feel like we've seen... I mean, there are states that we want to go back to and explore much more next year. But we're very happy with the amount of time we've spent in Arizona, Utah, Colorado. So now we feel like, okay, Idaho we'd like to go back and really explore, but we think we're going to get the opportunity during this work camp period because we'll be so close to the Idaho state line. So that is how things have changed, and of course in doing that we have decided that it's time to replace Wilma 1 with Wilma 2, and that's what we're sitting in today, which is a much bigger space for us. We went up to 29 feet because we're restricted with the truck that we're towing with. But to be honest, I don't think I'd ever want a bigger camper than this anyway.
I don't think so. And that's another thing, just to let you know, we kind of agonised on the decision that what type of rig we wanted. We looked at all sorts of things. Class A's, believe it or not, although we're talking about budget, there's a lot of very good deals on Class A's at the moment. Older ones, of course. But yeah, you can pick up an incredibly good deal on a Class A. We also looked at Class C's. Again, they seem to be pretty good value for money. I think what decided us against both the Class A and the Class C, and somebody pointed this out to us, because this is our home, if anything went wrong with that, you've got to ship your home into a workshop, and how
we would
you
be homeless.
Yeah. So we felt the travel trailer was still the best thing, and again, everything we do, we're thinking long term.
Yeah.
So when we do eventually settle, we're still planning on doing some travelling. So the trailer is great. It also gives us an additional area if we get guests for accommodation. So everything we've tried to do, we've tried to think of planning ahead.
Yeah.
So that's the reason we arrived at the decision on this. And as Gina said, we didn't realise when we bought the truck the potential limitations of towing. So this is, without maxing it out completely, this is about the biggest we could go with our current truck. But as Gina said, this is adequate. We're so happy with this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Particularly coming out of a 19-foot, this feels like a tiny home on wheels, which is wonderful. Probably not so good for Paul. He's the one towing, but we love it. It's been a complete change in the whole experience because the other one was just too small. And I would say any of you out there that are considering this lifestyle, I mean, we've been planning this for 6 years, and we really felt that we had made the right decision in the first travel trailer, but it wasn't. I mean, I've been living in it longer than Paul. I've been almost 8 months, I think, and it's just too restrictive. So you might want to think about that if you're in the market and you think you're going to be living in it. I would advise maybe you rent one or find a friend who's got a small one and try living in that for a couple of weeks before you commit, because it was too small. Small.
And Gina said it's totally transformed the experience for us. And we've only had this a few days, but we're
We love
happier.
it.
Daisy's happier.
Daisy,
She's
yeah.
got room to move around.
Because we were tripping over Daisy all the time. And at her age, this was a hard transition for her at 15 and a half anyways. And it just was too restricted in there. We both like cooking. We couldn't do that without stepping on Daisy. So at least this way we each have our own little space. If it just gets to be too much, you've got a place you can go. So that's really what we wanted to share with you guys, the changes. And in the future video, we're definitely going to be showing you a little tour so you can see what we're living in.
Yeah. One thing I'd just like to add is, because we've only been on the road clearly just a few weeks, but we have been on such a steep learning curve. Part of the problem we had was that our anticipation of what travelling would be and the reality is very different. We felt originally that we could book into a state park for a few days, relax, get our gear out, move on. That's actually not happened, because state parks are completely booked. We're lucky if we can even get a night here and there, and even if you do and you get 2 nights in a state park, you can't get it in the same spot. You've got to look at moving, so it's not worth getting all your gear out. And plus the fact RV parks, which is another alternative, are just so expensive. It's just not possible.
It's like the cost of staying in a nice hotel now. It's just gone crazy. And I would say for anybody, again, if you are thinking about doing this, check into that, because we did not check into that bit, because we thought we were going to be boondocking most of the time, but we set off in the middle of winter. And we were a little bit apprehensive about going down some of the roads, and just trying to gradually get into this lifestyle. And it's just been an eye-opener. It's so difficult to get a space in a state park, RV park, which is another reason we've opted to do the work camp this summer. We've got a spot that we can be stationary for several months. We can get out our things and share with you some of the campfire cooking, which is what we had hoped we would be doing more of, but we haven't had the opportunity, even with the wind. It's just something we didn't consider. Out west, clearly that's something that you have to contend with, but we didn't know. So campfires are going to be very limited as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, so part of our observations while we've been on the road is just observing, I guess, the different types of camper out there. I mean, we are full-time. That's an important thing to note. A lot of people out there aren't. They're just there maybe for 2 or 3 months and they've got a house to go back to. Other people are on pretty big pensions, or they can certainly afford to fund the lifestyle more so than we can. So yeah, it's just trying to decide what type of travelling that we wanted to do. And I think somebody pointed out to us that although it looks as though we're on vacation, on a permanent vacation, you can't treat it as that, because if you're on vacation, you plan and you budget for it, and you can go out for meals and you can do all the tourist attractions. You can't. The reality is you can't do that every day unless you have some fantastic budget. So there's a lot of downtime, and particularly when you're boondocking, because normally when you're boondocking, you're in the middle of nowhere, and in a small trailer, that's not so much fun, because you're just literally sat inside a trailer with nothing to do or nothing that you can do, because it's such a small space, and particularly if the weather's not great. So that again was part of our decision making, is really just trying to figure out what kind of campers we were, or what kind of travellers we were. And yeah, we're traveller, we're full time, we're on a budget, and what we needed from this experience. And we still want to see the USA. We're still looking for a state to settle in, so none of that has changed. But at least now we can do it in a lot more comfort, and because we're doing the work camping, we can afford it. And that is a huge difference between making this work and it not working.
Yeah, and the other thing I would add, I think what we have found is that if you're based in one area, for a couple of weeks or a month, you can get out and really explore the area. And this was another thing with the boondocking. We were very hesitant to unhitch and drive off and explore,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
it's different if you're caravanning and you've got some people, but we haven't connected with really, well, I mean, we've met some fantastic people, but we haven't connected with anybody who's boondocking yet, so that we could feel at ease about doing that. So we spent a month in Colorado at a really nice RV park. We got a great deal. And I would say, if you're thinking about this as well, check and see if you can get a monthly rate. That's going to save you a lot of money. I don't think it's going to be so easy in the summer, because that's their peak season. So I think you're probably going to struggle to get that in the summer months, but the winter, I would definitely advise that you do that. If you want to be in one particular area for a month, you probably get a better deal. So yeah, that's another thing where we feel like when we get to Montana, we can really explore Montana in our days off. So
yeah, absolutely. And just a little bit on the work camp. We were actually very surprised at the response we got. And again, there's different types of work camp. The one we're doing this year, we've only got to do 15 hours each, and then we get a lot of time off. There's work camps where you can do 40 hours a week and earn some quite good money. And we'll probably do that next year for 3 or 4 months, because that actually can fund the rest of the year.
yeah.
But I think what surprised us most, we sent our resumes off to, I don't know, about 10 campsites, and we got a fantastic response. And that really surprised us, because, not being funny, at our age we kind of thought we were washed up, no one was interested in us anymore. But we could have had the pick of a lot of different places, and this was quite late in the year as well. We got offered positions in California, Colorado, Yellowstone, Wyoming.
Yep.
It was actually hard in the end to decide which one we wanted. So that's given us a lot of encouragement too. So as I said, this year it's just a fairly low-key work camping job where we should have quite a bit of time off. We still have the opportunity to earn a bit of money by putting in extra hours, but the first year we did want to make this as much of a vacation as we could.
Yeah.
But next year reality hits in, and we will be doing a bit more work. But the difference is we're going to be working in some awesome places, and what better way to live your life than that?
Yeah. So
that's our news.
That's our news.
We are the we're not the Tumbleweeds.
We're just Tumbleweeds.
That's a band.
Tumbleweeds.
Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, we were going to do the Tumbleweeds, but we thought it would get confused with the band, evidently. So Tumbleweeds is who we are now, and we hope that you will join us in the rest of our adventure.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. We're really excited, and we share as much as we can with you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.